This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
It's Stacey Cole and Carol Hughes for one more episode before Tony comes back.
I know.
And this time, oh, go ahead.
And we just need to text and chat about cats like we normally do after this.
Yes, we do. We have a lot to talk about.
Cats.
But this story, we are leaning into your neck of the woods,
this
I guess
happened
you could
here.
say.
It happened in my town.
So is this a story that is just all over the news, and is it constantly being talked about, or it just really hit the news for a couple of days and then faded away?
No, it's still being talked about, and for a couple of reasons, because it's horrific, number one. But right after this story happened, another similar story happened. So, so the town's really been talking about this because it's just so sad. And it involves children and guns.
Gee, it's an American theme, isn't it?
Yeah. Children with access to guns. Now, and we'll dive into this story because this was the first one in these two cases that happened about a week apart. It's been interesting because people are talking about it with other theories of what happened. So I don't know.
Jeez.
I don't know.
And I do want to preface it by saying, and I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm not against guns. I have my concealed carry permit. I renewed it a couple months ago. There are, in my home, there's probably 9 guns. There's one loaded gun next to my bedside. I'm that person. So I have a very healthy respect for guns. I think we've got some young children in the family. I don't ever want them in the house, unsupervised, or, it's not healthy to have a loaded gun sitting on the nightstand. I get that, but I don't want the little kids around for that exact reason. And if I know that they're coming over, the gun gets moved. There's just actually, now that I say this out loud,
things that you have to do when you have guns in your house.
Yes.
And if you have children and you have guns in your house, those guns need to be secured. They need to be away from the kids. Period.
Yep.
Period.
Every gun needs to be treated as though it is live and loaded.
And the way this story goes down really pisses me off.
All right. So the story goes, she was 3 years old. He was supposed to be the adult. It's hard to imagine a more disturbing combination of tragedy and negligence than what allegedly happened on the night of February 28th in a small Kansas home. Michael Tejeda, is that his name, Tejeda?
Mm-hmm.
Tejeda?
Tejeda.
Mm-hmm. A 25-year-old father is now facing murder charges after police say his toddler daughter got a hold of his gun and used it to shoot and kill her 1-year-old sister. So we're talking about a 3-year-old allegedly killing the 1-year-old sister.
Mm-hmm. Which is horrific. But then when you get into the story, it just pisses you off even more.
So he is now in custody. He was booked on March 1st, but the newly released arrest affidavit paints a horrifying picture of what unfolded in his living room that evening. At some point that night, Tejeda called 911. On the call, he reportedly told the dispatcher that his 3-year-old daughter shot his 1-year-old daughter. In the background, you can allegedly hear him asking the toddler why she did that. It's a question that has no answer, and no child should ever be asked such a question. When first responders arrived, the 1-year-old was still alive but gravely wounded. She was rushed to the hospital where she was pronounced dead just before 9:30 p.m. According to what he had told investigators, the children's mother had gone out earlier that evening. She left the girls in his care while she was at a friend's apartment getting tattoos.
Which is a really great idea, to go to somebody's apartment and get a tattoo.
Don't you have to have it? Isn't there an establishment license that needs to be in place?
Yes.
I say that as a licensed manicurist myself. You can't just be doing shit out of your home unlicensed.
Imagine the quality of tattoos she was off getting when this happened.
Ew. Tejeda said he fell asleep on the couch while the girls were napping and watching TV. When he woke up around 6 p.m., his loaded handgun, which had been tucked into a prop holster in the front of his waistband, was apparently still there. But 2 hours later, he realized the gun had shifted. He removed it from the holster and placed it on the fireplace mantel, a spot he estimated to be about 4 feet high. He admitted to police that the holster had no retention, meaning that it couldn't hold the gun securely. If it tipped or moved, the gun could fall out. So he placed that loaded firearm within reach and then went to his bedroom to change clothes. That's when he heard the bang. According to the affidavit, Tejeda said his 3-year-old daughter came running to her room crying. When he asked what happened, she allegedly told him, "It was your gun, I'm sorry." Well, didn't he heard the bang. Shouldn't he have gone out to see what happened instead of asking what happened? Just a thought.
Exactly.
He rushed back into the living room finally and found his 1-year-old daughter lying on the couch with a gunshot wound to the head. The gun, he said, was next to her on the couch. It's the kind of moment that freezes in time, but in this case, it's also raising some serious legal questions because as horrifying as it is, none of this appears to have been an accident in the eyes of the law. It was allegedly criminal negligence.
Yes.
During the investigation, he also told police that his daughter had been curious about the gun before, which, as a parent means you should probably have that shit locked up. She had made comments about it. It wasn't new to her. She had noticed it. Asked about her day during a forensic interview, the 3-year-old said nothing about the shooting. Instead, she wanted to play. She mentioned getting a Band-Aid earlier, but no more. Whether that was innocence, trauma, or just the way a 3-year-old brain is processing something unthinkable, nobody can really say. Now, the girl's mother told police she was finishing her tattoos when he called her. He told her the other girl had shot the baby. She reportedly told him to call 911 and raced home. When she arrived, she grabbed her older daughter, who was repeating that she was sorry. So basically, this 3-year-old pulled the trigger, but it was an adult who had left the loaded weapon, within reach.
But here's where the buzz goes around town. Because did he really leave the gun there? Like, did they test this little child's hands for gunshot residue? Is he blaming it on the little girl when his own negligence, he's got this, whatever a prop holster is. I don't even know what that is. It sounds like a toy. So did he accidentally shoot the little girl? Because if he put it up on a fireplace mantle, this little girl's only 3. She's not very tall. But even maybe there was a step. Maybe she was able to get it. Is the little girl able to pull the trigger on a gun? I don't know. But the kind of the buzz around town, excuse me, is did he accidentally kill the little girl and blaming it on the 3-year-old?
And say to her, "What did you do? What did you do?" And it's typical for a kid to go, "I'm sorry. I don't know."
Because that makes sense then. Like, she came running in the room. Like, if I heard something crash in my house, I'm going to go running outside to check and see what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just a response. When you're watching 2 small children and you just put a loaded gun on top of your fireplace mantle, which is within reach of this 3-year-old, you also said, "Oh, well, she's been curious about the gun before." That to me just sets up this daughter. It's her little kid. I don't know if it's a little girl. If it's, a 3-year-old daughter. I just feel like he's blaming this on the kid, thinking the kid won't get in trouble because she's only 3. I have this
doesn't
weird
understand is
feeling.
He, as the adult in that house, the gun owner, he is negligent. He is responsible. The 3-year-old is not. And it doesn't matter if she pulled that trigger or not.
And even if everything he says is true, he still needs to go to jail for this.
Mm-hmm. I want to know why he was sleeping with a loaded gun on his waistband.
With kids right there. And like the gun could shift and fall over. So even then the 3-year-old could have grabbed the gun.
Yep.
Like, I'm not buying this bullshit about him putting it up on the fireplace mantle. Because any fireplace mantle is going to be pretty high for a 3-year-old.
I would
Even
think
if
so.
there's a step where they could get to it. It just seems easier that he's sleeping if the kid did it, which I still question that. But if the kid did do it, was he sleeping there in the recliner, wherever he's asleep, and the kid reached over and grabbed the gun and did it? Like, he never tried to put it up.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I mean, kids they're looking really within their own visual area. I really would find it hard to believe that the kid would get fixated on something that was probably not within her reach. She probably didn't even know it was there.
And then what's really sad is right after that happened, the next week or so, there was a 7-year-old boy shot and killed. And so I don't know what's going on with that case, because they haven't really said a lot about that. If the boy did accidentally shot himself, or if they've arrested a woman in that case as well. Same thing. Like, there was a loaded gun. The kid found the gun, or did she accidentally shoot the kid? They haven't said yet.
Wow.
But they said in both cases, the police said a gun was left accessible to the children. So both of these, if their stories are true, both of these could have been prevented had these guns been locked up the way they should.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Wichita police they're doing a campaign right now offering free gun locks for people. Now,
Well, it's something that you should have anyway. You should either have a gun safe.
if they bought the damn gun, they should buy something to lock it up with or in. You have kids in the house. You know?
Yeah, it's different if you live on your own, you don't have kids in the
Absolutely.
house. You know, if you're fearing for your life that you need to be napping with a loaded gun on your waistband, it might be time to reevaluate what's going on in your world.
Because I saw somewhere that they have locally in this town. Yeah, they've had 6 serious injuries in Wichita with guns and kids this year.
What is going on?
And it's just March, you know? It's almost April, but it's only 3 months. 6 serious
Is crime
injuries.
that bad there?
6 serious injuries, and there are 2 deaths. So I don't think those 6 injuries count these 2 kids. It's just these people that they don't care. You know, it's like, look at me, I'm carrying a gun. For what? For protection? Your kid killed your other kid, supposedly. I'm still not buying that one.
Yeah, something about that just doesn't feel right.
Me either.
You're locked into the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.